Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining Interview Prep 101. We have a speaker today, Mr. Jithesh Pillai. So he's a senior Q&A manager at Oracle and leader of the Atlassian user group. So we are so honored to have you here today. So Mr. Jithesh is going to brief you guys about the various practices that would help you, or various notions that would help you ace an interview. And that's exactly why this is Interview Prep 101, and welcome to this session. I hope you guys learn a lot, and I hope you can utilize this in your future as well to set your career ahead. So I'd like to invite a speaker. Yeah.
Hey, Thomas, thank you very much for the introduction. I think we have 60 participants. Do you want me to wait for a couple of more minutes?
I think we can start. Participants can join while we go on, I guess.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I think this is a great opportunity for all of you to be part of GTech, and which is a group of technopark companies, and MuLearn, to get yourself prepped up for the interviews, which is upcoming. So I think, let me introduce myself. I'm Jithesh Pillai. I work as a senior quality assurance manager with Oracle in Technopark. Also, I work on the research and development team of Oracle, where we basically make, develop, innovate on the ERP applications. I don't know how many of you have heard about ERPs. It's basically automating a big company process, whether it is hiring, recruiting, anything. So we make those products and sell it to customers across the globe. That's how our team is all about. So I'm part of that team. So I'm honored to be part of this initiative. I hope you all understand a lot from this. So let me just start off with a simple question. So we've done a lot of interviews when we hire people across, and I think one of the things which I've always looked upon is to ensure that this candidate would be the right candidate for this job when he walks into our desk, right? So that's the hope that as an employer, I have, right? So as a candidate, right, I think that's been the most critical question which you guys would have. Whether you'll always have that agony in your mind, are you prepared enough for the interview? Am I dressing it correctly? I think rightly said in one of the promo videos, that the person was mentioning about the dress code. Am I dressed correctly or not, right? I mean, this is a slew of interview questions. Before that interview, you have a lot of things in your thoughts which is running in the background, which we'll try to answer one by one. Okay, so we would have the Q&A. I think most of you send me questions. We'll try to answer most of those questions, and we'll keep it to the end of the session. And then I think we'll go through a model of, resume creation and things like that, so that you guys would get a hang of it. Okay, so we'll keep the questions to the last, and then let's get started. So just be informed that I want all of you to participate actively, which is why we are spending time, for my time as well as your time, which is equally precious. So you should be able to understand that if you're spending time, that means you are sharing one portion of your life with someone, right? So sharing it with all of you, that means it is equally precious. So ensure that you go through it, and you have polls while we go through the session. So what is your understanding will be tested as we go through. It is just not for any analysis, but just for our understanding, whether you're able to grab it or not. Okay, so we'll just get going. Let's go to the first slide. Right. So the first point, I think most of you are freshers, so you will not understand what a company is all about. What are the different people who are there? So the first person whom you might be meeting would be the HR manager or the HR analyst, which we call as human resource, part of the human resource team. So probably you might not understand what is human resource. They are just there to manage people, to identify the right candidate, recruit, and join a team, right? So often the interviewers, where you see the hiring managers, they are the basic problem that we see with a lot of these things is like, you would have actually gone through online, you will search for a lot of questions, you come prepared for that, you expect the same questions to be answered. But there's one advantage for that is like most of these questions would be similar. So you can get a sense of the questions if you search online like freshersworld.com and other sites where you will find about the interview questions. So now the human resource manager is the person whom at the level of what she's the first one to talk to you during your screening interview. She'll be asking basic questions to gauge your interest in the organization, basically to confirm whether you're GTech, what is the qualification expected of the interview, whether it is matching to the skills or not. So that person is not essentially the decision maker in the interview process. So that's what you should think about. When the HR calls you, that is to make sure that this person is having good communication skills, first level. Second, the whatever is mentioned in the resume is correct or not. Is a right fit just for the screening. That's how it works. Okay, so you understand, that's what the main goal about, the human resource manager, which is all about. Okay, let me just go to the next slide. Next person that you will be seeing would be the supervisor. We call it as the manager. So the main intent of this particular person is this is the right person who will be actually responsible for you when you're hired in the company. So what he will be looking at, exploring your past experiences, whether it be project experience in your college, anything where you have excelled, and we want to understand from the supervisor or the manager perspective, how do you have those specific skills fit into the organization, how we can bring it to the job or not. Okay, the main thing that they will look at is how tactful, committed you are. Like if you have to be committed for anything that you're doing, right? So how tactful you are, how committed you are, how trustworthy you are, what is your attitude, are you having a good attitude or not. So that is what is expected from a supervisor. So we went through the hiring manager where we looked at the screening skills, what she's looking or he or she is looking at in the supervisor. And then moving on, when we look at the supervisor, right, the hiring manager, any interview for that matter, if you have an in-person or a virtual interview that is happening, always try to be genuine in your answers. Do not try to bluff anything that you don't know, because you should understand that the people who are interviewing are skilled in that and they would have seen a lot of people. If you try to bluff, there will be a lot of questions which will be following on that. So it will be easy that you will fall into the trap. So look at the eyes, say if there is something which you do not know, say it upfront that I do not know, but give a point that yes, I do not know, but given a chance, I can learn it fast. And I'm sure that I can implement it clearly in the organization. So that gives, it's like, it's not a blunt no, right? If you hire someone for doing your household chores at your house and then you're asking this question, do you know this? Just a try would matter a lot. So think about it. When you say a no, you should always add a point. Given a chance, I will be able to do my best if I get a chance to learn. How would be the next question? Then you can mention that while I was studying in my engineering or NC or whatever skills that you're learning, you have been proficient, and this is how you portray it. You should give an example of that. Okay. So, and there will be one of the questions that people get to ask is the rate yourself on Java or any skills that you might be asked. So one biggest mistake which I've seen people doing it is rating yourself as too high. Like out of 10, out of 5, if we ask people to rate, they might out of 10, they will rate as 8. Then the problem comes in, the interviewer will ask questions which will attack your technical knowledge and they will make you bring it down to a level of 2 or 1. So what they will try to do is to understand that, are you willing to accept mistakes or not? One of the biggest failures which we have seen with the recent companies, or not the companies, essentially the schools and the colleges where the education has been done, is people have been taught to be competitive. Hey, I should get more marks than the other person. That's what people are all focused on. But the biggest problem is, in a company, we look at team. How are you helping your team members to get things done? But if you do not show that acceptance, like if you've committed a mistake, if you're rated too high, are you willing to accept it or not? So accept your mistakes. If you've rated too high, be willing to accept, sorry, I think I rated too much, so I think I should reduce my rating. Be humble to accept it. They will all look at these attitudes. So at a company level, we always look at your attitude very, very carefully. The way you speak, the way you communicate, the way you dress yourself. It's essentially that the way you do one thing is essentially the way you do everything. We'll come to see how do you place your pen when you come to the desk, right? For the interview, how you walk in. So those are all matters which are really important. So just be having that confidence and be genuine would be the first thing. So don't rate yourself too high in any of the interviews. Be a medium rater. If you think you're good at it, just look at the company, then rate yourself. So this would be the team, right? So there are a lot of people. So I think I don't know how many of you understand. We have people like testing team is there, a development team is there. Development who actually writes the code. There's a team who does not need to write the code, which will be testing team, will be testing the application, and there will be another team which will be called as business analysis or product management team, who will be writing the requirements and ensuring that those are all being developed and tested properly and released to customers. And there will be another support team which will be there, and also there will be other technical writing team also. I think that's how team structure is. Not every skill required in IT is a coding skill, just for your information. So now coming to the team, anyone of the team members, when they try to interview you, so look at your friends, right? When you look at your friend, anyone who wants to be your friend, they want to ensure that you're having a person who are skilled enough, who will be a help to you and to the organization, and it should not be a threat to them also, kind of thing. So they will look at people who are good team players. So don't try to show off too much, saying that, I know this, I've been first in my college and this, that, and all. Don't do such things. So just be humble and be willing to accept your mistakes and show them that you're a good team player. Give examples of how have you done it in your college, whatever experience that you have had. Okay, so we'll move to the next slide. So get to know the company, right? So I think that is one of the factors which people miss out. They get the interview, okay, I have this interview, and they are very, I think the focus is most to tell everyone that I've got the interview. No, that should not be your focus. First is to get to know the company, review the company's website, press releases, search in Google about the frequently asked questions. Wherever you can find, get as much information as you can. That is the first and foremost thing, because what happens is there are different types of companies. There are companies who are startup companies, and there are large corporations or product companies and different streams of companies. You might not understand what the company is looking at just if you go randomly to the interview. But if you see for a startup company, the main points which they mention in their websites would be innovative, go-get attitude, and things like that. But when you compare it with a large corporation, the pointers that they will be mentioning would be kind of, you're looking at better work-life balance, or giving a committed life, better product value. Those kind of little different communications are a little different. So just think about it and just understand this is the value of the company and this is how I should communicate. One person has given me a question, can I ask any question to you? And to the company. Essentially, no, right? If I'm the person who's asked me that question, if I'm going to ask that any question to you, you won't find it happy. You won't, because we always look at people who have actually done research before you speak. So that's what we say, think before you speak. So you should have done your research and you have an outstanding question, then you should try to speak. So having a knowledge of that company would make a lot of difference. Okay. And now we'll come to quickly to your important pointers, types of interview questions. There are basically 3 types of interview questions that you will get in any company for that matter. That will be behavioral, situational, and resume based. So I think, Matthew, can anyone say, am I audible? Am I going at the right pace or am I speeding up? Is my accent, I have to tone down? Am I fine with this? Are you able to hear me clearly?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So probably we'll go to the first one, that is the behavioral one, right? So tell me about yourself. Give me an example, right? These are all kind of behavioral questions. Why are we asking behavioral questions? It's just based on your past experience. We want to predict the future in your company when you come. We'll be asking similar, very simple questions like, how did you do your, project work? things like that. This is just a casual question, but we want to analyze your behavior there. So that will give us a prediction. Okay, this is how you're going to perform in this company. So be very careful, right? And then one tricky question, I think all of you would be very much afraid, would be tell me about your strength and weakness. That is something people all take it personally. Okay, man, oh, this is a tough question. Then you will start telling about singing, talking, and things like that as a strength and weakness. So essentially, you're missing the point. So we'll try to go through it, right? So then the next one would be your situational questions. So some of the companies where we first will have the aptitude questions, that is the situational one, where we'll try to analyze your problem solving, analytical, and planning skills, right? So you'll be asked a set of aptitude questions, and then we'll try to analyze you based on that. The third would be resume based. So resume based would be like you have to be very, very careful. That's the most important thing that you put in your resume. A resume has to be written as clearly as possible. No spelling mistakes whatsoever. Alignment perfect. Proper spacing. These are the main important points when you write a resume. And don't put jargons there. Like I've seen people putting C, C++, Python. Every little skill that you find, you seem that person is going to be the jack of all trades. But when you're asked a question, you will fumble. You don't have to show that you have too many of those skills, but at least the things that you know clearly, mention it. If it is only C, C++, that's fine. Don't try to put skills which you do not have just by copying your friend, because you'll be landing in trouble. In most of the companies, I think there was a question around whether you'll be asked to, how will be the rounds and all. There are companies where we will have actual laptop given with the SQL developer or Eclipse or any of those applications which they have mentioned in the resume, and ask them to write the code. So if you write something which you do not know, you will fumble at the first moment. That will break your trust. Don't do that. And there will be cases where you will be asked to write on a piece of paper and things like that. So when you're asked to write on a piece of paper, so one point of caution is like if you've been asked an analytical question, let me give an example, right? Some 4 liters of water and the 4-liter jar and 2-liter jar and how to measure 3 liters of water. These are similar kind of questions that will get asked. Assume that you do not know. That's fine. But give an attempt. Ask them to give you a paper, write it down, draw it to see. Maybe you don't have that analytical thought in your mind itself. I did not have when I joined my first, I was trying for the first company. I could not get it. So I asked this question to give me a piece of paper and give a try. So try matters a lot. So they will always look at how many tries that you have. How many attempts are you making? Because when you join a company, you're expected to work on things which you might not have even thought of. But are you making the effort to learn and implement it? That's the attitude that we're looking at. Okay. So now I think it's time for the polls. Matthew, can you post the polls? So we'll see how well you have learned all these things. You'll have a poll coming up next to the chat window. You'll have polls button. You have a poll coming up. Press on the button which you see as the most probable answer and try to answer those questions. You will have exactly, I think we'll try to wrap up once we have 50% of the people answer the questions. Fast. Let's try to do it fast. So this question is, what's a good way to get a sense of the organization before the interview? Have review press release, visit relevant websites, read relevant media coverage, and all of the answers. I think we have a very good participation. Come on, guys. I think you should give your best. Okay, I have 75% participation. The rest of the folks who have kept on mute, please try to answer. This is for all of you to understand. You will have a takeaway from this. That's the whole intent. Okay, we are at 81%. I think, are we good to hit 100 by any chance? I think we have good participation, right? I think you can post the results. Right. We have, are you able to see the results? Guys? Can anyone confirm, Matthew? Are you able to see the results on your screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I hope you got the whole intent, right? You have to review the press release, visit relevant websites, read relevant media coverage to get a sense of the organization. Must have always before the interview. Let's do the next poll. Can we go to the next poll? Yeah. The most common interview formats are either behavioral or situational. True, false. I've put a slide there, so obviously, but still I have false. Okay, wonderful. Okay, come on, people. So it's like 135, want all 134 to participate. How many of you are there? Cool. We are reaching at 110. That's good. All of you are still behind. Please try to press the button to wrap up. Let's see if we can get to 100. Okay, I think that's a wrap. You can share the results. I think most of you would know it will be either behavioral or situational, and again, or resume based. Let's go to the next poll. Let's do the polls faster. Question 3. In an interview, Alan is asked, will you explain to me a time in your experience in your college days when you became really worried and stressed, but things worked out? This is a similar kind of questions you will get asked in the interview. Is it ethics, situation, resume, behavioral? What type of question is that? We are at 80% participation. Okay, good. We have 113 out of 113, 100% who answered it. So rest, I think 82% is the participation for us. Okay. What do you guys think? Is it situational or behavioral? I have Fatai at 47 and 48. Can one of you say it? What would be the right answer? Is it a behavior that is trying to see? Past experience, is it trying to put a past experience to draw your future? What kind of question that would be? It would be behavior. Okay, let's go to the next question. Do we have a poll there? Next one. So you should make a sense of it. These type of questions you will get asked. Right. The most common interview formats are either, I think we've gone through this, right? Right. So I think we have gone through it again. So you can stop it, end the poll, and then I think we have wrapped it up. Right. Interview formats, I think either behavioral, I think we went through it. You can share the results. And are there any other questions? Are there any other polls right now for that? Or we've wrapped up? I think there is one more question. 5th question. Can you put it up, please? 5th poll. Yeah. So Anjali here, the person's name is Anjali, and she's a fresher graduate out of college. How can she best choose her many strengths to highlight for potential employer? This is how to choose your strength: by analyzing the employer's tone, by analyzing the weakness of the potential supervisor, by reviewing the job description, by studying press release, publicity. So let's look at where do we stand. This time we are going to be a little fast. When we reach close to 75%, we'll wrap up. Good job, guys. So let's share the results. So exactly, by sharing, by understanding the job description, because the job description, as you would say, it might have the inputs which would give you the idea how to portray your skills. For example, the opening is for a UX developer or a web developer. You should understand that you should try to portray the skills which would give a value to that particular job description. Got it? So, for example, when you applying for a UX developer, you should be able to explain things like on your strength side, right? You've worked on such projects in your previous projects or anything that would enable people to think you're more of a designer man, UX man, you think, draw, things like that. And that should be the perspective. Or if it's a web developer, again, similar set of pointers would apply. Thanks, guys. Thanks for doing the polling. We'll go to the next slide. So let me just skim through the polls. Yeah, I think I've done it. So tell me about your strengths. That's one of the most important questions that people are worried about. Right? Tell me about your strengths. People always say about I'm good at singing, I'm good at dancing, I'm good at meeting people. So essentially, is that the expectancy when you're asked about tell me about your strengths? No, but this is a fumble question for inexperienced or untrained interviewees actually. It is basically framed to confuse the candidate. So what we're trying to discover is you have the core competency to join this job is what we are looking at. Whenever you are seeing the answer to this question. Right. So for example, you can you will have a lot of core competencies that you can bring in. So as I mentioned in the earlier, as most of you have answered it, you have to go look at the job description. So give me another, I will ask you this question, give me an example of this particular strength you have done it. So then you should be able to portray that strength giving an example. So always write it down on a piece of paper. How many strengths I have, what is the job description, and is there an example I can portray? Okay, because they will definitely ask this. So again, as I told you, a trained interviewer can easily judge you faster. So do not bluff. Okay. And there will be cases like, tell me about your resume. This is where most of you get asked about, tell me about yourself, right? So that is, again, another pointer where you can mention about, hey, don't use myself at the starting. I would prefer to use, hey, I am Abraham Jacob. I'm a BTech graduate in this particular college in this year. My core competencies is this one, and I've done a project on these areas. I've also been a volunteer for these activities, which gave me the knowledge. So you should think from the employer perspective. How is the answer going to provide a value to them? Right? So write it down, frame the answers in such a way. Okay. So essentially, your communication is going to be the biggest key for the interview. Even if you do not know very legible English or very fluent English, have that confidence in you. Speak out. What happens? End of the day, you will give a try, right? So you should always have that confidence. I should be able to try. That's what is expected of you in the company. Okay. So probably, always try to practice that particular question, and you should have a realistic view of yourself. So for example, someone who's coming late to the interview and is talking about my strength is time management. Done. He's done for the interview, right? You should not, even though you put it in your resume, you should not mention it as a strength. If you have come late for the interview, you got the point, right? So you should not be spiking completely opposite to what you are. So let me go to one of the typical job description I found in Trivandrum for a fresher. What technology skill is required? Desire to code and learn. What is expected? A good grasp of object-oriented programming, good knowledge in Java or C++ or C# or Python or Node.js. So not everything is required. That's what people should understand. Okay. If you have been asked this question, right? Then what are your strengths for this particular, as you saw on, you can say something like this, as you saw on my resume, I am if the company is looking at a customer focus, for example, I'm a very customer focused person. I do a lot of coding. I've done a project on machine learning and AI in my company, in my earlier project using Python. And tell briefly how it benefited. What was your aim of the project? They always want the output, because as a company, we would always expect how do you find the value in what you do, right? So as a word of caution for the entire interview, yes, there is chances that you get frustrated, you will get angry, you might feel bored, or you might feel a lot of different emotions will come up. You should not have a mindset that you should answer the questions immediately. Always pause before answering a question. Okay, that's how you should be doing it. I think someone has made a strike in the page. Thank you. I don't know who made it. Okay. Okay, tell me about your weakness. So probably just let me just reshare it. Let's go to the presenter view. Right. So tell me about your weakness. This is another favorite question of mine. Probably I have never seen, most of the people have not given me honest answers on this. So you have to be realistic. You should always make sure you mention your weakness with an ability to improve. So do you think companies really bother about your weakness on a personal trait front? No, we are not. Right? You're looking to have a realistic view of your competencies and the ability to improve on your performance. Are you okay? You know that I'm good at C++, but I'm not that good at Java or Python. But I have put a learning path to learn it. That kind of is one of the weakness. So none of the employers, I'm being blunt to you, none of the employers expect 100% matching to your job description. You look at 70 to 75% of the match to the job. So again, as an employer, I think probably what we could look at is to at least have a feel about how we can be realistic with you, with the pointers that we try to do about it. Okay, just give me a sec. I'll try to. So this is one of the main point that you should always write out. Tell me about your weakness. It's not about the most interesting question which I've seen in the interviews is my handwriting is really bad. Come on, we all know what you're trying to portray, right? So don't come up with such blunt questions. Always try to be putting something which is. Sorry, that was a question.
No, I don't think that was. Sorry for the interruption.
No worries, no worries. Okay. So for example, so if you want to learn quickly and implement it in your job, right, you should mention as one of your weakness. So read the job description. Okay. For example, you don't have a formal management experience. What we do is you should always give a problem with a solution, right? When you try your weakness. Say, for example, we are looking at management experience in the resume or what are the opportunities are, or looking at a coding experience, but you have done some other experience, but you have good analytical skills. So you believe that I don't have that much detailed coding experience, but given a chance, that is one of my weaknesses. Given a chance, I'm also investing my time on learning C++ through this particular channel and given me, so I'm very confident I can do it. That's how you should be portraying your weakness. Got it? So this is how you should portray your weakness. I think we are at almost 30 minutes past. I think we'll go through the polls first. Let's go to the polls. Can we enable the next poll, Matthew? Right. What is the key to answering the question? Tell me about your strengths. Ensure that your response aligns with the position that you're applying for. Act personable and smile throughout your response. Ask the interviewer how their day has been. Repeat the question. So always ensure that your response aligns. And this is one of the one question where I've seen most people have failed, because they will tell about singing, dancing, and all those things as their weakness. In your strength, you can always portray things like the extracurricular things that you've done. That goes way above for your volunteering skills, other leadership skills. Those all will get portrayed. So just a tip. So we have 78% participation. I think you can publish the results. Right. Ensure that your response aligns with the position that you're applying for. That should be the way. Okay. Thanks for the good response. 89% have responded for that. Let's go to the next question, 7. So this is one critical thing. What is a major problem in bluffing a response to a question that asks about your strengths? You do not know which strengths are desired. Most people cannot bluff. The bluff answer may not agree. They will likely be the additional questions asking you to cite examples. Come on, guys, fast. We will have to give you time for your questions also. Right, I think we have 71% participation. People who do not listen to it, you should not bluff. So if you do not know your strengths are desired, you should always write it down clearly. What are your strengths from a company's perspective? How will it add value? You should always put a plan on your ability to improve as well. So the correct answer is there will be likely additional question asking you to cite example. And also if you bluff, they will be easily figuring it out and you will be noted as not trustworthy, which will be a rejection for your interview. Let's go to the next question. Question number 8. After presenting a weakness, you should question the need for missing skill, present a plan, identify other workers who could fill, explain how missing skill could be automated. Correct. I think we have 76% participated. I think people who have not participated, please do try to vote. Who have not yet participated, please try to vote. We have 127 people. Let's ensure all of you vote. Okay, I think we are at, you can post the results. I think we're good. Present a plan for overcoming the weakness. That should be the main point that you should have in your mind when you're putting a weakness across. Okay. So let's go to the next poll. Do we have additional polls there? Yeah. Can you go to the next poll? Yeah, I think. Right. We have when sharing a weakness, you should not focus on your strength, identify less important or easily learned skill, analyze, include a plan to improve. Read the question carefully. When sharing a weakness, you should not. This is when I mentioned you should read the question carefully, right? Otherwise, people are, this is what I was trying to say. Keep a pause before you respond. Take a breath, keep a pause. Do you understand? Do you read it correctly? So the most important thing when you are asked a question, if you're not clear, you should ask, sorry, I could not understand. Can you please repeat? And do not assume anything during the interview process. The interviewer has asked you a question, be clear. So now we have 34 and 24. I saw 24 include a plan to improve was going up initially. So when sharing a weakness, you should not focus on your strengths. Exactly. That's the point. That's the 34%. That's the result that you would have. Okay. So key points shared. So I think do not assume anything. Ask questions back to the interviewer if you're not clear. That is always good because in a company, you're not expected to assume anything. There's nothing going bad if you ask the question back. Let's go to the next poll. I think we did this. Let's go to the next one. Do we have another poll? Matthew, do we have another poll? Or is it done for this?
This is the last one. May I
Okay.
share?
Thank you. I think that's it. I think probably I'll close this and we'll move on to the next pointers. I think we went through it. Sorry. Why are you interested in this company? So this is another interesting question. So you should always think realistic answers, right? So I've seen most people when your resume, when you put it in your resume, that there should be things like the way you do things, the knowledge that you gain from the company will be equally good for you, as well as that will nurture the opportunities or things in the company also. That's how you should frame yourself when you mention as why are you interested. For example, you can mention like, I'm looking forward to, it was nice to see that the company is really expanding to areas, and many of the user design experts have been promoted. So I look forward to growing my expertise within this company. It is definitely a great company to work for. I've done a research and so you should always try to help maximize the brand values. One interesting question which I mentioned about, I think one of the people is one person who was there for my interview in my company asked this question. I asked this question, why are you interested? I was expecting a big brand boost for my company, and this guy mentioned about, hey, I have my in-laws in Chenganur. I think it's parents in Chenganur or someplace. That's why I want to join the company. Nothing else. I was taken aback, but he was being blunt. But we did hire him, but he was true to his answers. But still, I would prefer most of you should mention it. Why are you interested in real possible terms? Let's go to the next pointer. I hope we have a poll. You can start the poll. Right. So this is a case study where Aravind asked Jacob about his interest in position at his company. What is Jacob really trying to focus on? The relationship between Jacob's goals and skills and needs, Jacob's ability to research background information, how amenable Jacob might be to changing focus, Jacob's commitment to integrity and quality. Great. I think we can share the results. That's the exact relationship between Jacob's goals and skills and the needs of the position. Right. We want to understand what the company is looking at. Right. So that's where we end with that poll. So do we have any more polls to ask? I think we don't have, right? Right. So for all of you who are there in this session, I think we have come to the final pointers where we'll go to the Q&A, and this is how one of the sample resumes which I've put it as a format for you to understand what is expected in the resume. Okay. So for the resume, I think I've been asked a lot of questions from a lot of people about the resume, what should it come. This is one sample format. Just understand that as an interviewer or a hiring manager, you get 3 to 4 seconds to skim through a resume. Being really honest, 3 to 4 seconds, that's the right time. If you get a resume which is having spelling errors, you're bound to get rejected. So we have a policy where if there are three and more spelling mistakes, it is an auto reject. Even if we hire or try to put the offer, if there is a spelling mistake, the offer is going to get rejected. It's that serious a matter. So how do you prepare your resume? You should not actually literally copy it from your friend and put it. So I think people have asked me a lot of questions in which formats and all those. This is one of the simple formats. So you should always think from the interviewer's perspective, how legible it is, how are you focusing on your goals as an objective? Instead of work experience, you can mention here, whatever is mentioned as work experience, you can mention your project experience. What are the project times and timelines and all, education you have, the format, skills. There is not a lot of programming languages you see here. This is for an experienced person who has written this. I mean, for that person, there is not too much. And also your interest also would give us a picture. What are your areas? How are you good at in a lot of areas? So this is one specific area which I want all of you to really focus on. I think I've heard a lot of people telling you, you should follow this format, that format. It is always about alignment, grammar, spelling with no spelling mistakes. Keep it as simple as possible, not a lot of colors. People will not be interested in seeing a resume with a lot of colors. No, keep it with Arial or Times New Roman with a simple structure. For heading, there should be a one font size, and for all others, there should be one font size, one or two font size. That's the max. It should be as legible and clear as this is one of the sample formats which I wanted to share to all of you. Probably Abhijit and others, I think, Matthew, do you want me to go to the questions and answer the Excel questions you have, or do you want me to answer the questions on the resume preparation? What do you want?
I think we can go through the resume preparation a bit, and then we can skim through the Excel. Yeah.
Perfect. Can you give me a sample resume which you have seen? Do you have one?
Yeah. Abhijit, could you?
Or I can still share the same one which I was sharing.
Okay, Abhijit's facing a technical issue, hence the delay.
No worries. Okay, so it's not about a lot of formats, guys. It's all about how legitimate it is. So let's go to one by one. The first name, last name, how you've written your email, LinkedIn profile, it's the position, the numbers and all. It's the about. See, this is the about area which you should always be thinking about. See, always write in a way that, an about should say about how this would give a value add for you as well as for the company, right? Here, this particular person is mentioned as passionate. I've seen people writing a lot of things, right? Excellent knowledge in this, passionate, critical thinking. So all those things can fire back at you, because we will ask questions on what is critical thinking, how are you passionate, can you give me an example? All these will come up. So don't copy paste from your friend. Write it in a manner that the objective fits for the generic. So you should always write in a manner that whatever you are doing, objective is kind of an example. I think we discussed this, Matthew or Abhijit, if you're able to hear it. So it could be written in a manner that whatever the objective could be like joining a company which would nurture my skills as well as give value add to the company that I'm working for, where I can expand my core skills technically and functionally. This could be one of the examples. So you can search and find similar ones. Don't put a lot of jargons there. Just understand that whatever you do and what company expect, it is a mutual relation. So put a value add point there as you're about, and your experience there. I think in your experience, I think you should mention about project experience specific. Don't have resumes more than 2 pages. Do not write. We expect the resumes to be short, concise, and precise, to the point. Rest you can explain it in the interview. And also in education, do not have decimal. I've seen people writing 69.9998 is not 70. 69.98 is 69.98, not 70. So decimal point precision is required for your marks. Skills, do not put C#, SQL, Java, and everything in the world. That gives you a wrong impression for you. I've seen people put almost 5 to 7, in their writing skills. Okay, I have known this. I'm a critical thinker. I'm a passionate person. I'm a technically strong person. I'm this, that, and all. I mean, that will give you a lot of questions. All these questions will come back to you. Okay. Any other questions, guys, which you want me to answer regarding resume? Feel free to ask. Abhijit or Matthew or anyone on the call, you can unmute yourself and ask this question.
Sir, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, I have seen somewhere that that you are not supposed to tell what's on your resume when you are asked the question, tell me something about yourself. Is that true or not?
Okay, let me go through your Facebook profile. When I'm asking about yourself, you're saying something which is not on your Facebook profile. Does that sound legitimate or not?
Sir, can you repeat once more?
I'm going to your Facebook profile. I've found that this particular person is this, right?
Okay.
And I'm asking this question, or you're not telling me this is what you are as a friend of yours. Would that find legitimate or not? I mean, would that be true or not?
Yeah.
It won't be true. So whatever is in your resume is what you have to extrapolate and say. I mean, the resume is just a short summary of what you've done, right? It's a glimpse. You can still go ahead and whatever is there in your resume, you should be able to tell it in a clear words outside. There is no case like that. I don't know. There are a lot of people who tell a lot of misconceptions about all these things, but be very clear. There's no single format that should write your resume. But the key pointers is make it as legible as possible. Not a lot of colors, simple, not a lot of lines. Keep it simple. And is it needed to add a declaration? No, not required. That's not. The one that I showed, I think whoever is asking, is actually a favorable resume that we have actually put across. The one that I showed, it does not have a. There's no declaration here, right? So you don't find a declaration here. It does not need to be having a declaration. It depends upon the format that you're using. So always look at the alignment, the lines you have, the spacing you have, everything is important. It's like you're dressing yourself and going out. People are not focused on how you're getting dressed properly or not. So this speaks a lot about you. In 4 seconds, we can come to know whether this person is tidy, neat, whether this particular person is speaking to his words or is just copied someone's resume. Everything is clear from this resume. If you're putting a lot of content, that means you're just putting a lot of jargons, not good value. Does that answer the question, Albert? Or I think it was someone else who put it in chat.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Sorry, Anju. Does it answer to your question? I hope. Next question. Is it good to add personal information? Like for a company's perspective, too much of personal information is not required. But you can add basic information. What is your name? I mean, date of birth if you want. In some formats, I have seen that, but not in every formats. Visual CV or doc would be better. I would suggest you guys to create some resume in Word format and save it in PDF. That will look really nice. That would be visual CV. I don't know, people are going for a lot of visual CVs, a lot of colors, but frankly, people are not that much interested in going through such a resume for a long time because that it's not the visual trait that we are looking at. We are looking at how are you being presented in the resume. Spelling, spacing, grammar, clearly written. That's it. Should we give a brief description about projects? Yes. Yes, you should give a brief description. That's what I can just given the example, right? See, all these projects or things that you've given, just a brief description. It should not extend, none of the resume should extend more than 2 pages. That's it. Even a single page resume is the ideal one that you should go for. But you should put it in a manner, not put a lot of writings there, just a brief description. What is the project all about, in what all tools, and what was the value add given? That's it. You're done. Next question. Did we need to add photo? No. You're seeing the person directly, right? There's no need of adding a photo. That won't make it any necessary. Is it mandatory to include cover letter? Not. It depends upon the companies that you apply for, but normally we don't have a cover letter use case. You just send across the resume with a proper email. When you are asked to send an email, be clear. Do not put chat lines in any email, any communications, clear email, which is showing your interest. Where should we add if you're currently pursuing a course in a resume? Okay, it should be near to the education section, which I just shared, right? I think portion of the screen. So here, I think work experience, right? Here, you in the education section, you can share anything that you're learning. You can basically share there. Okay, pursuing a course, you can share that. You can just mention it as pursuing. From what time, right? The time period could be, you can mention from 2022, pursuing till date, to till date. Could be one way. And what should be the ideal length of the resume? There's no ideal length. What are the contact details and social links? I think I've mentioned, given you the example. What should be the, I think
Sorry to interrupt, sir.
Yeah.
But Abhijit's back, so if you want, he'll share a resume.
Yeah, go ahead. That will be an interesting one. I've seen most of people have written something like that.
Yeah, Abhijit, could you share the resume?
In the meantime, when people are yeah. Oh, yeah. So, see, the career objective: passionate, flexible, efficient, self-motivated, searching for a suitable. Okay. Kind of don't mention all those lot of jargons. Just eager to expand my knowledge and skill set, along with nurturing my ability to organize and strategize, with contributing to the growth of organization and me. Here, see, the second line talks a lot about you and the organization. That kind of wordings is what you should always put. And these words should be linking to you, not something which is copied from the others. And see, here you have a lot of spacing errors, like after graduation details, you have a lot of space. And scroll down on the percentages should be, and see, the skills are a lot of skills. Problem with putting all these skills is, you in some companies you'll be asked to write code in Java, MySQL, and create a MS project, AutoCAD, Startpro, and everything that is there in your resume. Because people would ask this question: why do you ask this question even though it is mentioned as a skill? Skill for a company is your proficiency. If you're very good at it, don't only put it. Rest is not your skill. That is just your wish to learn, or just you have an acquaintance. Don't put a lot of these jargons there. So I think you can put the industrial visit and whatever is mentioned, achieve, all those things. This is fine, but you have a lot of spaces here. I see a lot of spaces. So scroll down. Personal information is there, declaration is there, that's fine. But I see a lot of spaces using star and all. Put it very, that's what I'm trying to say. When you saw this resume and the one that you shared, if you are the interviewer, which one do you select? It's that direct. It should be as legible, not a lot of, this is a lot of cluttered for me. This gives a sense that there's a lot of clutter. So the main problem that happens is people don't understand that we can easily read a person from the resume. In seconds, we can find it. What is this guy all about? So don't give such an input. Okay. Did that answer your question, Abhijit, or any other pointers to add? This is not a legible resume. No, not a good resume. Because everything is see, the problem is a lot of things are there, right? There are 4 pages. No, keep it to 2 pages. Keep it as simple as that. It's too much information for me. There's no point in reading to the entire thing. 8 bullet point of information, right? Keep it simple. Okay. Any other questions, guys? I think I've seen some more questions. Can I add seminars and training programs? Yes. Projects descriptions? Yes. Is it okay? I think. What should be the ideal length? There's no ideal length. I think social links I've mentioned to you. What should be answer to the question on where do we see yourself in 5 years? That's a critical question. That's a very wonderful question who has asked this. So that gives you a perspective. Are you a planner in your life? Do you have a vision in your life? Right? So where do you yourself, for example, if you're joining a company, I wish myself to be a senior developer or senior UX designer by this time, where I would learn on these many pointers. That would give the company a perspective. So prepare yourself beforehand. Yes, you should answer like that. You should have a preparation for that. You should not be blunt. Is resume becoming color copy or black and white is fine. That is what I would prefer. Should we add links to the projects you have done? Give a brief summary and explain. If that is a research work, probably you can. Is about section a mandatory section to be included? It is about or an objective. That's one and the same. Objective gives a perspective about you. What are you trying to communicate to the company?
So, sorry to interrupt. One of the participants wished to share his resume. May I share it?
Yeah, go ahead. So we don't want any personal names to be mentioned. So I would want all those pointers to be hidden before we share.
Sir, he said it's fine.
Okay, I'm fine. But keeping the contacts aside, fine. Go ahead. Not aligned. Not aligned. A lot of LinkedIn, email, mobile, those are not aligned. Kind of okay, but spacing is not that good. If you see the fonts and the dots that you've used, bullets are different formats. I think you have not mentioned a lot of information, which is good. Projects, I think you've mentioned the project. Project, you can put it in the same format. May 22, you have mentioned. You can put it in the same format of experience, remote, Jan 22 to April 22. Similar place you can mention. For me, it is a little cluttered. I don't know, but you should increase the spacing or change the font. I know you put a lot of volunteering experience. Yes. Okay, scroll down. Everything is 2%. Okay, hobbies, songsters, chess enthusiast. There is a bullet next to it. Are you going to say anything after that? You see stand-up comedian, after that you have a hyphen. See, I mean, these are all things which would matter, right? So, so when scroll up, I think this is okay. This is a one-page, but I want this. This is looks a lot cluttered. The one that I shared. So try to keep it. The font is not good. That's what I would suggest, and keep the spacings to be correct. Because I find a lot of information there. It's like you have written everything line by line together. I think this is clear. To Albin, are you clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other question? Does anyone how to handle the question? Why should we hire you as a fresher? Yeah, good question. Yeah, it's always why should we hire you as a critical question. So let me give you an example. Why should we hire you? See, I have the right skills and the attitude as a fresher. I've gone through a lot of trainings. I've done these projects, and I'm confident that any project that you've given to me, I have the attitude. I'm confident that I can learn it and implement it fast. That is what you should respond. What about other candidates, those who are not in allotted group? I think this is just for everyone, right? Anyone who attends the interview going forward. I don't think this is anything specific to anyone here, what I'm sharing. So probably I think is any problem in putting picture like freestyle, not like passport size photo or plain? It'll give you a wrong perception. That is what the problem is. If you can put a formal picture, that is fine, but it'll give you a wrong perception. That's it. Is skill matter or does degree matter? Do you hire a fresher who has skills in a domain from a non? We do. I mean, every company. So it's the skill which matters most. There are company depends upon the company, right? So I think people have asked this question quite a lot. There is not essentially only coding which is there in IT companies. You have testing jobs, you have technical writer jobs, business analyst jobs. These does not require that much coding skills. There's no need of coding skills as such. So you should learn about it. What is testing? Search about it. Get yourself some training courses for testing and all. Those would definitely value add. See, when you put a resume which is having C, C++, and if you're looking for a Python opening, still if you have that skill to put the logic in, there might be companies who will be hiring you. Got it? I hope that answers. I hope the do you means it's a generic question. I'm not looking at the company. Next, any other pointers to discuss, guys, or should we go through the questions? Are we clear on the resume preparation and the pointers which we have discussed till now? What is your part that you've handled in the project during academics? Yes, you should mention your part. The interesting problem will come in if you and your colleague who are part in the project is attending the same interview. Be careful. That's all I have to say. So you should mention that you have been part of this particular portion of your project and you did this many activities. You should be clear. Unless you have done it through some other agency, you should be able to answer this question during academics. Any other questions, guys? So how to handle salary expectation questions? I would say keep it as per company's expectations would be a better pointer to mention as a fresher, because the point that we're looking here is to gain experience. You will get salary as you go by, but initially when you're asked about salary expectation, you can answer pointer like as per company's expectation. You find that gives you a perspective that you're flexible, because the first point for any fresher should be looking at getting a job, getting your experience, then come to salary. All those will follow. Any other points to add, Thomas, or on the resume portion? Any questions?
I think we're good. Yeah.
Okay. Let me just skim through the Excel which I was shared. I think, yeah, this one. Yeah, are you able to see it clearly?
Yes, we can see it. Yeah.
Tell me the questions that you cannot answer. Okay, I won't go through it. Precautions I should take. I think you are aware of it. What all things a fresher resume should have? I think I've shared it. Can we ask anything about the company? No. You should learn about the company, understand the company, ask specific questions. That will give you a perspective. Else you will be considered as a person who does not investigate or put time to know things. You're just a person who wants to speak just for the namesake. How to speak confidently in the interviews? Speaking confidently, it is all related to your confidence in how prepared you are. So I would say that write down all these pointers. How to say about yourself. Other point is strength, weakness, and all those points. And speak to in a room. Just speak to the wall. Prepare yourself as much time as possible. How to face an interview? Be confident. Dress nicely. I think this came up, even though it was a question which came as a promo. You should always dress nicely, properly groomed, men, women, or for all those matters. The way you are looking at the interview, you should appear. Even if the company is having a flexible work culture, putting t-shirts, I would prefer it. When you're coming for the interview, be informal wear. How to answer a question with the right answer. How to answer a question with the right answer. Think before you speak. You should understand, analyze, and if you're not clear on the question, ask it back. If you do not know, tell it you don't know. But give a point that given a chance, you will work on it and learn it. How can you go to the interview? Preparation is the key. Preparation I've just given you. How to manage, how approach, lack of knowledge. Learn it. You can go to sites like freshersworld.com, understand previous year's questions, and also go to YouTube, search for technical questions, get a point of technical side, how to prepare for software engineer jobs. I've just mentioned it. Any other pointers in this question which I have not covered? Can Thomas or Matthew have a look? There's a question on I do not have a programming background. I did mention you can get. So everything is how you speak that matters a lot. Your attitude is the first point. If you're being rude, arrogant, this will cause rejections. Technical round is difficult, depends upon how do you prepare yourself. Any other pointers to discuss? Any questions, guys? Anything which I have not covered in this, Matthew or Vijit?
I think we've covered a lot. So participants, guys, if you have any other doubts, please feel free to use the chat.
Yeah, go ahead.
Or yeah,
you can unmute. People can ask me questions. I might be dropping off in exactly 10 minutes from now. Any other pointers? Okay, what questions can be asked to the interviewer? Yeah, you can ask feedbacks about yourself. How did you perform? I think that's what people forget, when you're out. Because if you failed in one of the interview, you shouldn't understand the reason, right? You can ask feedback. You can ask feedback. You can ask about the company, how it is performing. You've gone through it, and what are their plans? How is the team like? All those questions you can ask. So things that you ask gives an interest that you are equally interested in understanding and knowing about the company. Any other points? You can ask me questions also, not through chat also. I hope I've covered the main pointers. Any other points to add, guys?
I think we've covered everything. So,
okay, great.
Anybody?
Okay, so anybody has the last chance, and I think in which portion of the resume you should add the certificate courses from Coursera. You can add in the same education section. How to face situational questions. I think I mentioned it. How to face situational questions, because it will be based on what you have done in the past. They try to analyze you. So pause, think, then reply. That you have done this job, then this particular, whatever experience you have done in project. And through this, you learn this, and that is why you think you can apply this to your job. That's how. Is it necessary to send feedback mail to the interviewer after the interview? Not required. Not, and essentially, if they ask, you can. How to handle the questions regarding career gap? Mention it really reasons. For example, if you have problems like clear reasons like maternity or any other specific marriage reasons and all those things, mention it clearly why you have. I mean, that's open question. You can mention it clearly. This was the reason, or you have a personal problem, and that's why you had a gap. And but you invested time in learning in the meantime, and you want to get back. You're proficient. You're confident about it. Any other points? Okay, I think that's kind of it is pleasure talking to all of you guys. I haven't included my final year project, but I include some projects from the current domain. Include your final project, saying that it's ongoing, and if you're confident. Okay, I think is any good adding reference? Yes, there is good in adding references. That gives you an added advantage that someone is vouching for you. Give some examples of adding types of interest. I think I've shared examples in my types of interest. I think the resume portion, I think I did share. Let me reshare it. Types of interest can be anything. I mean, it's need not be. I'm not able to share. Okay. I think, yeah. Portion of the screen. Yeah. So interest playing cricket, football, badminton, watching cricket. These are all interests. That's all fine, because these all give you an added advantage of how you are. Got it? Yes, we are coming to the closing minutes. I think it has been a pleasure talking to all of you. What kind of questions in technical round? Depends on database questions. What is database? Why do we need database? What is SQL? What is structured query language? What is depending upon the company, right? The question that should look at the job description and search. That's what I would suggest. That would be the kind of questions that will get answered. Right. Any other pointers? I think I would, if there are no more pointers, I hope I have answered all the questions. I would wish all the best to all of the participants for being part of MuLearn, as well as not MuLearn. I think MuLearn is an initiative which is part of a group of Technopark companies, and which is building up young talent to the right professional world. I think Deepu would be able to speak more on that, right, Deepu?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Jithesh, for that awesome session. Thank you for answering all those doubts. And I'm sure it's going to help them to set their career. 2 days ahead. There's a job fair coming, and a lot of people from there joined. So I'm pretty sure they're going to use this information. I'm so happy that you could join us. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Yeah. So this particular session, that is Interview Prep 101, was brought to you as part of something called Mentor Connect, which is an initiative by MuLearn to bring the industry and the students together to let them know of the best practices that they could follow to set their career ahead. So to talk to you about more about MuLearn, I would like to invite Akshay, who's the program coordinator at GTech MuLearn. Akshay, are you there?
Hi, Jithesh.
Okay.
Hi. Yeah.
Deepu, you can give a quick introduction and I'll take it forward.
No, it was an excellent session, Jithesh, and it is also live streamed and it will be available for students to watch for later also if they have any questions. And also you can feel free to comment on that video or if you have any questions, you can. We will have avenues for you to discuss further. So, MuLearn, I know that majority of the people are from MuLearn itself, but I also saw that there are many people who are not in MuLearn. So, Akshay should be able to give you a brief on that. It is just like a continuous learning practice that we follow. Like it is just like giving you abundance of avenues to connect with mentors from the industry and also form peer learning groups and continue building skills and make it visible to the industry so that there is more chances for you to get hired by the company. So there is something called karma points that companies right now consider as something that is very relevant because we want people to have skills, not the certificate. Certificate is required. Like recently somebody was telling like certificate for professional services. It is required if you are a doctor, if you are a lawyer, if you are a civil engineer, if you are a electrical engineer, if you are, etc. It requires certificate because it is a license for you to work. You cannot practice without having that license. But for IT or software development, if you are looking for those type of things, your skills matter. And you already have, if you have skill, you already have the license to start building and start working on, right? So focusing on building skills based on your capabilities and abilities is very important. And MuLearn is an avenue that provides you to connect to the affinity space. And we will have Mentor Connect programs every week. And this is just like the first session for that. And I know that all of you are preparing for the IEEE job fair also. Majority of people are preparing for that job fair. All the very best. So Akshay, you can quickly get to MuLearn, and then those who want to join, we can take them separately. They can connect us. They can also connect to or give some options where they could email or follow our social media channels or join our Discord server. That is, just give the link to the Discord server so that people can connect even if they are busy right now. Yeah.
Sure. So first of all, Jithesh, it was a wonderful session. I have been here from the start. So everyone, so you have you heard what is MuLearn. So MuLearn, it is an initiative of group of technology companies called GTech. So it's a consortium of IT companies or IT enabled companies in our state. So this is more like we are bringing all stakeholders who are working in the education economy together. Like we are bringing all the companies here. We have community partners here. We have the university partners. We have the faculties. So everyone is here. This is more like a framework. So we learn each other. We teach each other, teach what we know. So currently we are working in a platform called I don't know whether you all are familiar with Discord. So currently we are working in Discord. So the joining link to MuLearn is provided in the chat. Yeah. So the website is given in the chat. You can just go to the website. There will be like basics of what we are doing there in the website. You can see that the past events will be there, and there'll be like a Discord joining section will be there. Deepu, do I need to share my screen and show what is MuLearn? Or yeah, I'll just share my screen. 1 second. Awesome. Thomas, you there?
No, we can close it in another 9 minutes,
Yeah, I'm
because
here.
8 o'clock we have to close it. So like it can be a quick review of these things, just to see like what is MuLearn and what is happening there. And students, they are capable of connecting to the website and joining there and getting more details about it later. Okay.
Okay. So Thomas, can you share the screen? Like, can you just show the Discord platform I have to
Yeah,
set?
sure. 1 second. Just give me a second. Just get Discord booted up. Yeah, all set.
I have already.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure. So this is the Discord channel. So Discord is just an application you can download directly from the Play Store, just like WhatsApp, just like Instagram. So you can join our server from the website itself. So you can see the task. Can you go there? Okay. So once a student is joining to the platform, we have to know or we have to do some basic enablement task. That is, first of all, you have to give introduction about yourself to the community. Then next is introduction to GitHub, HTML, Markdown. So some basic enablement tasks are listed out there. And with each enablement or which activity we have in MuLearn, it is linked with something called karma points. So for each activity you are doing here, you'll get karma points based on the complexity, based on the task, you'll get karma points. So for the introduction, you have 20 karma points. For the GitHub task, you have 200 karma points. For the YIP, for the activities we are doing here, for the interest group task, you'll have karma points. So you can see the introduction channel here. You can see the student channel here. So the activities will be, or your work will be reviewed by 2 level of review are there. Like one is the peer review. So you can see the white flag here, and next is the mentor review. So after mentor review, you will get the karma points. So just example, Noora, Deepu just awarded like 200 karma points for Noora, and you can see the karma points in the lobby. Then for each, Deepu, can you go to the Know Your Rank channel? Okay, so for each of the student, the mentor or the enabler, we can see the like identity card, like digital identity for each of you. So that includes your total karma points, your total rank, your area of interest, your college name there. The college is not what we like present, like your identity is your skill, not where you're coming from, not your college. So everybody will be having the digital identity. Deepu? Yeah. So then you can see the scoreboard here. So every scoreboard will be updated in each hour. So there is a evergreen college scoreboard with St. Joseph College of Engineering on the top with 722 students with 7 lakh plus karma points. So all the karma points will be added up based on your college. So this is the karma college score board. Then this is the monthly college scoreboard with College of Engineering, Kannur on the top. So likewise, we have the individual scoreboard also, like student scoreboard, like evergreen and monthly scoreboard is there. And yeah, this is a student scoreboard. So after doing all the basic enablement tasks, like how to contribute in a project, how to the basics of GitHub. So likewise, you can select your area of interest. Like it may be IoT, it may be cybersecurity, whatever you are interested in, whatever you want to explore, you can select the area of interest. So each of the interest group is like connected with any community or either a company. So many like enablement tasks will be there according to each of the interest group. Let's say cybersecurity, we have a cybersecurity cohort running, which is headed by the vehicle security team. And let's say IoT, it is a the IoT, KLIoT challenges going on, which is led by the mentors from Fuchs Lab. So we have many interest groups going on. Also, we have web development interest group that is led by Pygrammers. So that is also a student community. So likewise, we have many interest groups where you can come and you can interact with people from the industry, people from the community. So this is a chance to showcase your skill. You can learn directly from the practitioners. And also, this is not like I'm learning something on my own, something from Coursera. This is like you are learning something with your friends, and much more like this is more like we are playing a game for building the skill. So that is like I was
3 minutes to go. And let me add one thing, that is we are into democratization of learning. That is, anything that goes to the platform will be free for the
it is
students.
free. Yeah.
Access to the new age technologies like, for example, cybersecurity, if you want to learn, that is, you do not have to spend a lot of money to get to know the basics, right? So here, MuLearn, if you come there will be mentors who are willing to, who are passionate to share their knowledge to you for free, and then you can get connected. Your effort is the payment for that. For example, for each activity, that is, you might be asked to do some task where you show that you are actually interested for that session, and then you will get access towards that. So that is where karma points is the key. If you have a lot more karma points, that is basic minimum 1,000 karma points might be required to getting access to cybersecurity course. So you can go and get karma points by building skills, and finally it will act as a profile for you. It is just like you have a Instagram profile where you upload certain things and show to the world. Here, MuLearn profile is something like you can showcase the skills that you have gained, which is peer reviewed and mentor reviewed, which acts much stronger resume for you by which is something that is run by the industry, driven by the student community itself. And we are connected with all the universities as well as companies. GTech is the consortium of around 250 IT companies in Kerala. So actually the job fair that is happening there, that is around 60 plus companies from GTech is coming there for hiring, and around 1,000 plus vacancies are there. And we from the industry side are looking keenly for the karma points for the students, just because karma points shows that the student is passionate. It shows that they are self-learner. They are able to overcome hurdles. For example, they want to learn this code, they want to do some activities to gain the karma points, etc. So that learnability skills and all those things that company is looking for, this act as a proof of work for you. So do join MuLearn, and based on your passion, any interest group that you can create, you can form learning cells. If you are interested in movie making, if you are interested in singing, that is any type of interest that you have to find people of similar interest in your campus, and we will be able to connect you with the people of similar interest across the state. So it also helps you build a wider network. It is not just about what you know, it is also about who all you know, right? So building the skills as well as connecting you to the right network. Third one is giving you the opportunities based on the skills that you create, and that is what MuLearn is.
Also, you have this voice channels here. You can see some of the people are, at the lobby. Yeah, I'm also in. So just like Clubhouse, you can just directly talk. You can directly join the voice channels.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you all. If you have any questions, we can answer, else we can wind up. Yeah. Thomas, I think it's 8. You can move. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining, guys. Hope you had a great time. Wishing you all luck for your upcoming interviews and your career. Thank you for joining once again.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Bye-bye. We'll see you there in MuLearn. Bye. Good night.